So you're here today probably because you've heard that selling on Amazon is a really good opportunity to make a lot of money and perhaps even change your life. But it's not the only way to make money selling e-commerce. You could start your own websites. You could do what's called a Shopify site, which is basically a software tool that hosts your own website. You can do drop shipping. There's a whole array of things that you can do to sell on e-commerce. But Amazon is probably the best opportunity, hands down. It's probably one of the best opportunities of the last 100 years in business, period. And we're going to talk about that just for a little bit here, just to set the groundwork for why you're in for a real treat if you can really learn and master this. I mean, Amazon is revolutionary. They never expected it to grow into what it has grown. And it's become so big, even the US government is looking at different aspects of it and trying to split it up and even actually add some controls to it because it's become so dominant in our society, especially in the United States. And part of that reason is Amazon has invested billions of dollars to set up all the infrastructure that allows the small person like me and you to come in and take advantage of what would be impossible under any other circumstance. Most people that buy on Amazon don't realize that over half of the sales that are generated on Amazon are from small sellers, people like me and you. They just think it's Amazon shipping everything. But in reality, about 55 to 60% of every sale that's made on Amazon is made by a third-party vendor. Now, when Amazon first started over 25 years ago, they wanted to sell everything themselves. And then Jeff Bezos realized that, hey, if we expand this, if we want to be Earth's biggest store, not just Earth's biggest bookstore, but Earth's biggest store, we've got to expand this, and there's just no way we could hire the infrastructure or the people to actually have one of everything that exists out there. So they opened it up to third-party people like ourselves. And this has grown immensely and become the dominant way to actually make money selling on Amazon. It requires a lower amount of capital to get started. You don't have to set up all the warehouses, all the fulfillment centers. You don't have to hire a lot of people. You don't even have to have a physical location. This is something that you can do remotely, and a lot of people do traveling around the world. You can do it on a very skeleton budget of people and money oftentimes as well. It's incredible what it allows you to do. It allows you to scale. So as you grow, the infrastructure is already there to allow you to grow within Amazon in the system. Now, Amazon is also the third biggest search engine in the world. I mean, only Google and YouTube are bigger. So most product searches actually start on Amazon. They either start on Amazon or Google. It's a majority of all product searches. When someone wants to buy something, they go to one of those two places. And more of them actually go to Amazon than anywhere else. So from that point of view, it's actually a search engine. And if you know how to actually get your product listed in that search engine high up, you can make massive sales. Now, there is a process to that. That's what we're going to teach you in this course is what do you need to know from picking the products to actually getting them onto the first page. Because if you're not on the first page of the search results, you're probably not going to make very many sales. And in fact, if you're not in the top half of the first page, you're probably not going to make any sales. But Amazon gives you all the marketing tools to actually do these kinds of things. They already have the audience. They already have the brand recognition, the name out there. So you don't have to build any of that versus if you had your own website, you would have to start from scratch and building that whole reputation, getting the eyeballs there. Amazon already has that. And if you know how to exploit the system and look for the opportunities on Amazon, you can do really, really good. Not only can you start a brand and sell on Amazon, but you can actually build something from scratch that turns into a true brand that goes off of Amazon and sells into brick and mortar stores and all these other places. I mean, in fact, I have a company right now that we're doing some products that we started on Amazon, and we got the bugs out of the system, we got the feedback, we made some changes, we proved that there's a market, and now we're going off Amazon into stores like Walmart and Dick's Sporting Goods and a whole bunch of others out there, Nordstrom's and stuff, that are actually taking the product because it was on Amazon first. And because we've proven it and they see what it's doing there, they're like, we want this into our store. Now, when you're selling on Amazon, there's several different ways that most people sell. And we're going to talk about these in detail in another module. But one is called FBA, and that stands for Fulfilled by Amazon. So basically what that means is you ship your products into Amazon. You decide what you're going to sell, and you decide to a degree how many you're going to actually ship into Amazon. And then Amazon lists it, you list it actually, but it's shown to the Amazon audience, which is more than 100 million Prime members in the United States alone. Over 200 million, I believe, worldwide. And The FBA allows you to scale fast because the stuff is stored in Amazon's warehouses. They distribute it around the country so they can get it to your customers in just a day or two in most cases. It's an amazing system. Then there's what's called FBM. FBM stands for Fulfilled by Merchant, which means basically you list it on Amazon, but instead of Amazon warehousing it and shipping it, you actually ship it. So you would have your own warehouse or your own company, it's called a 3PL, that would actually ship those products for you. And then there's a third way that most people sell, and that's being a vendor. And a vendor is the old traditional way where you sell, where you actually, Amazon issues a purchase order and they say, we want 1,000 of your widgets. We're going to pay you in 30 to 60 days. And you ship them in. Amazon does all the selling, all the marketing. They take care of most everything. And then they pay you when you invoice them in 30 to 60 days. That's the way a lot of the big vendors do it, like the big Nikes and Adidas and the big brands. That's their old traditional way that they're used to. But a lot of them are actually realizing that is not actually the best way. The best way maybe is to take more control of your product and listing, and that's the FBA way. That's where this course is going to focus on is FBA on Amazon, specifically in the US market. Now, a lot of what we're going to teach will translate to other marketplaces like Canada, Europe, Australia. There are some minor differences, but the vast core of what we're teaching you here in this course will actually apply to those marketplaces, but we do focus on the US marketplace. Now, the thing about selling on Amazon too is you don't need to know what you're going to sell right now. Maybe you have an idea already of what you want to sell, but you don't need to know what you're going to sell. One thing you got to remember though is Amazon is not a field of dreams. It's not just, I know a lot of people that stick a product up and they sit back and just wait for the cash register to ring, and it doesn't work that way in most cases. Unless you have something that's high in demand or super niche down, you actually got to know how to work the system to actually get your product to rank, and how to market it properly, and how to list it properly. So that, just don't think it's just something you can sit back and just reap the rewards. But you don't need to know what you're going to sell right now. We're going to show you in this course how to actually figure out what are good opportunities and what are not good opportunities by using different software tools from Helium 10 and some of the techniques and strategies that I'm going to teach you. So you're going to have a really good foundation on what's going to work and what's not going to work. So one of the things that you want to keep in mind is that there's two main components to selling on Amazon. One is data, and data is numbers. So if you're not good at numbers, you may want to partner with someone that actually is, or hire somebody that actually is good with numbers, because there's a lot of numbers to review and a lot of data science that goes into selling on Amazon, a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of analysis. And so data is super, super important. And the tools that are out there that let you harvest this data and see where the opportunities are amazing. Helium 10, you're going to be surprised at what you can figure out on Helium 10. For example, coming up in a couple modules, there's going to be a little demonstration of a tool called X-Ray. In that tool, you can actually get an estimate of exactly how much any given product is selling on Amazon. Now, this is not data that's coming directly from Amazon. They don't put out a list of here's the sales, but these tools have figured out how to use what's called BSR, or best seller rank, and some other factors to determine what's a good estimate of what different products are selling. And then you're going to be able to see how much competition those products have, how many reviews they have, and a whole number of other criteria that are important when evaluating the market. So data is super important. Now, marketing is another super important thing. You can't just throw up any product on Amazon and not differentiate it. You've got to differentiate the product, and you've got to put some little bit of marketing behind it. And that marketing can be offline. It can be coming from social media sites. It can be on Amazon. It can be as simple as having creative packaging or something creative about your product in the marketing or in the way you write it up, or even in your images. And we're going to go through all that in the course as well. So one thing I want you to keep in mind, though, is that probably about 95% of the people that start to sell on Amazon fail. And we're going to try to help you in this course not be one of those 95%. We want you to be one of the 5% that succeed. And the number one reason that a lot of people fail is cash flow. They really don't understand that this business, to really scale at a large level, takes a lot of money. You can start small, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. You don't have to have a lot of money to start. You can start small and grow. But to really grow big, it takes a lot of money, and you're constantly buying inventory and constantly having to work and turn that to actually grow your business. And so it's possible to have a paper profit where you're showing on your balance sheet and in your financial statements that you have a profit, but you're like, where's that money? It's not in my pocket. It's because you're reinvesting it. So one of the coolest things that makes this even a better opportunity right now is something called aggregators. And we talked about that briefly in the last module. But there's a whole industry that has popped up. And as of this recording, there's more than 80 of these companies that have actually popped up that want to buy Amazon businesses. So if you can prove that you have a product that people want, you can get it started, it's going to probably reach a point to where it's growing so fast that maybe you don't have enough cash to keep it going. One of these guys that has huge money, some of these guys have, one of them has over $1 billion in investment money behind them. Most of them have anywhere from $10 to $100 million in investment money. They will come in and they will take a look at your product, and this is usually between 1 and 3 years after you start. They'll take a look at your product and they'll say, hey, you're doing good, you're growing, but we think if we inject some of our capital, we expand maybe to some other marketplaces, we can blow this thing up out of the water. You have profits of, I'm just going to make up a number here, of $100,000, let's say, over the last year. We'll give you $300,000 to $500,000 for your business. And you may like, well, why do I want to do that if I'm making a profit? It's because you can take that $300,000 to $500,000 in cash rather than having to constantly dip into your pocket to reinvest to grow it. Put some money aside, do whatever you want, and then start again. And I have a buddy who's done this 5 times already. They started with a couple $1,000s. They grew their business into about a $4 million business. They were able to sell it for several $1,000,000 bucks. They took some of that money aside, put it into their kids' college education, bought themselves a new house, took a nice vacation, had like a $2,000 dinner at a really nice restaurant, and then they took a chunk of it and started again. They built that up in a couple years and then sold that for like $7 million. Then they did it again, sold that for like $12 million. So the leverage you can get here is even better than real estate in some cases. And these aggregators make this opportunity super, super good. They'll often pay between 2.5 to 5 times whatever your annual profit is for your business. And so that's a great way to leverage yourself and just grow and grow and grow and turn this into something really, really big. And you don't have to be making millions of dollars to do that. They'll buy the smaller businesses too. So those are some things of why this is just such an amazing opportunity. I recommend most people start in the U.S. market. Now, maybe you're in Europe. You could start in Europe if you want, and these principles will still apply. The U.S. market is the biggest, but it's also the most competitive. But once you figured out the U.S. market, it's easy to scale this across different markets, like to go to Canada next, and then to go to maybe into Europe, into the U.K. or Germany, or go to Australia. Those are smaller markets. They're less competitive. But if you can master the U.S. market, things work very similar from market to market to market. So once you know how Amazon works, you'll be able to easily scale across these other markets. And that's another great opportunity for growth worldwide that just doesn't exist on any other platform, not on Walmart.com, not on any other platform out there. So it's amazing, amazing opportunity. And there's a website called Marketplace Pulse that does some statistics and stuff on different levels of Amazon sellers. And their last statistics said that over 30,000 people or businesses are doing over $1 million a year in sales on Amazon worldwide. And that number every year just continues to grow. So the opportunity here is immense. And luckily you're here with Freedom Ticket and Helium 10, because the two of these together, Helium 10 and Freedom Ticket, are a powerful combination to help you succeed on Amazon. So I'm super stoked to have you here, and we'll continue on in the next module. We'll see you there.